All right. Today we're finally doing my big NFL video that I've been wanting to do. Finally sat down and made a little presentation over it. Rocking the making a little NFL video just about predictions of we're doing every division. We're doing standings there. We're doing awards. I have NFC and AFC championship game, Super Bowl game, and I have some fun like superlative awards at the end. So let's get to it. All right, almost made a mistake with my camera, but we moved it. First, we're starting off with the AFC North. AFC North here. In fourth place, we have the Browns. This is kind of the most obvious one to me. They really didn't do any, or actually, they had a great draft. Which the thing is, they always have a great draft, and somehow they never have anything to show. For last year, they had a great draft. This year, I think they also had a great draft, bringing in KC Conception. They brought in Denzel Boston. Almost said Denzel Washington, and I know it's tackle. I'm blanking on the name right now. Overall, we're sticking them at fourth because your QB battle for this team is Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders. So you're at a lose-lose situation there, and you lost the best defensive player in the league. So you're kind of at a loss there. I think they did bring in Emmanuel McNeill-Warren, who I'm a big fan of. So I think they're young and they have a lot of potential going forward. It's just still the QB position, which they can never seem to figure out. So I had them coming in at fourth. And coming in at 3, I chose the Pittsburgh Steelers here, mainly because the key factor of losing Mike Tomlin, who I think has kept them afloat for the past 5 to 10 years at this point. I mean, so many years going into this season, you think this team shouldn't be doing anything, and somehow they're a 9-win team who somehow made the playoffs. And that I think that's all due to because of Mike Tomlin. They did bring back Aaron Rodgers now. They improved the wide receiver core. Usually it's just a top 1 or top 2 guy, then it falls off drastically. But now you have DK Metcalf, you have Jeremy Bernard, who they drafted in the 3rd round. Plus, you have Michael Pittman Jr., who they just traded for from the Colts. So, I don't think the defense changed much. There's not too many key changes around here, but I think the team's still gonna be solid. But I think they're gonna have a fall off without Mike Tomlin here for the first time in a very, very long time. Next in, we got the Bengals coming in 2nd place here. So the big key departure we all know is they lost Trey Henderson, who was like the big only key of on their defense that they had, providing nearly I think like 18-ish sacks for the past few seasons. So it's a huge key to miss. They did bring in Dexter Lawrence, who they paid a ton for. Who I mean, he's a great interior D lineman, but he's not going to give you the same like effect that a true pass rusher as Trey Henderson did. So they're gonna even get worse on defense, in my opinion. Which they can't really afford to do that. You're really just making on finally having a healthy Joe Burrow year, because when you do have a healthy Joe Burrow year, you saw. I mean, it can lead you to the Super Bowl because that team can put up 40 points on any given night, and the defense at that point doesn't really matter. But I think they are just lacking defensively, which is gonna take a knock here, and make me not want to put them first. And just you can't really bank on Joe Burrow's health anymore. Coming in at number 1, shout out to my homie Alex, big Ravens fan. We have got the Ravens here. You know, they changed the entire front office this season. They lost John Harbaugh. They lost their OC to the Browns. They lost a lot of key pieces when it comes to Isaiah Likely, Tyler Linderbaum. There's definitely more names there to come out. The whole Max Crosby deal happened, which I think they got the better end of. Maybe if you disagree with that or dislike how they approached that or not, they did end up getting Trey Henderson inside in the door, who is gonna. I'm not gonna spoil that. And coming in at number 1, shout out to my homie Alex, big Ravens fan. But we got the Ravens coming at number 1 now. They changed the entire front office this season, which you never know what that's actually going to do. And they lost a great head coach in John Harbaugh, but I think they really needed to finally get over that hump, because what he was doing wasn't providing you enough. You also lost your Todd Monken to the Browns, so they're coming with a new offensive or a whole new like coaching staff. But I like the coaching staff they brought in, and obviously, you lose those key pieces such as Tyler Linderbaum and Isaiah Likely and a bunch of other pieces to the Giants that John Harbaugh kind of like just took with him. But you brought in Trey Henderson and free agents, who was a great plus. You lost out on Max Crosby, but I mean they got the better end of that in my opinion. I'm glad they didn't do that, which you can disagree or kind of dislike them for how they approached it, but I think they made the correct decision in bringing in Trey Henderson, who's just the guy they really needed. They really needed a pass rusher because they've been lacking that for many years. I think they approached the draft really well and bringing in Vega Ioane, because we all know 77 was a terrorist on that team, and they really needed to bring in someone new. And they drafted like Elijah Surratt and another receiver I'm blanking on, along with Zion Young from Missouri edge in the 2nd round. So I think they really addressed their main problems when it comes to free agency, and I think they are going to come first this season. And then we move on to the AFC East, and I think kind of obvious to everyone coming in at 4th here is the Miami Dolphins. They got gutted. They lost Tua, Tyreek's gone, Jalen Waddle's gone, key defensive pieces left. They're left with kind of scraps On offense, they brought in Malik Willis, who I'm a big fan of and think he can do good things here, even though if we may not see this in the first year, solely because he really has no one to throw the ball to. It's kind of just him and Devon Achane fighting for the lives back there. And I mean, I think this team's going to be in contention for the #1 overall pick, along with like one other team. So I think this is a clear and obvious number 4. Coming in here at for third in the AFC East, I have the Jets, so I think improved pretty well. You bring back Geno Smith, who say what you want about him in this Raiders year last year. I know he was god awful this past year, but I think he is better than that, and I think he would do just kind of solid in the Jets, which is what they need, which, I mean, is a big upgrade from what Justin Fields brought you last year. And along with the Browns, which is weird because they're both these awful like franchises you see. I think them and the Browns both drafted fantastically, and I think they did that again this year, bringing in key pieces such as yeah, you're bringing in key pieces such as David Bailey, who you drafted Omar Cooper Jr., you drafted Kenyon Sadiq for that offense, and you drafted D'Angelo Pons, I believe. Is that what I did? I had to remind myself so I could kind of talk more. So I think you drafted well, and I think you're in for a bit bigger and better year. But I think you are still just gonna be kind of middle of the pack when it comes to the Jets. And coming here at 2, it was a toss-up between them and the Bills. To me, I think they're both going to really fight it out for who comes first. But I got the Patriots here, who we all know they got the big acquisition of A.J. Brown to really give Drake May that true #1 receiver. I know a lot of people hated on Drake May last year because the schedule was just bad, but you got to think he really didn't have that great of a receiving core. It was solid at best. If Stephon Diggs is your best receiver in 2025, it's not that great of a receiving core. So adding someone like A.J. Brown, having this guy who was second in the Heisman running, getting a key piece like that, he's going to improve massively in my opinion. They also added pieces to the offensive line. They drafted Caleb Lomey at like 9, I think, and they signed Elijah Vera Tucker, who's not great, but he's an addition there. Because as we saw in the Super Bowl, they really needed to stack up on O-line, and I think them and the Bills are really going to be close. And we can go straight to the Bills here, who we got coming in at first. And they also lost Sean McDermott, who was there for a very long time, so they are going through a coaching change. And obviously, they added DJ Moore, who he's better than what Josh Allen has and has had since Stephon Diggs, in my opinion. And he is that #1 receiver, which I think will help him a lot instead of just having Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman, who obviously Khalil Shakir is great, but we need something else there too, because Khalil Shakir's not like that underneath, just kind of safety guy, with DJ Moore can really get you deep and hit you over the top. And that defense is great. We still have Josh Allen, who's going to be an MVP front runner every year. We have almost said Dalvin Cook, James Cook, who's a great back out the backfield. So I think them and the Patriots really going to buff it out for first and second. So we'll see how that goes. But I got the Bills coming first here. Then we go to the AFC South, my division, big Titans. Sadly, at 4th, I have us, the Titans, because I think the top 3 of this division are really just solidified and really good, especially the top 2. They're going to be playoff teams. The 3rd one, maybe not, but I think we improved massively over this offseason with Wan'Dale Robinson drafting Tay. We made big Alontae Taylor, another corner I'm blanking on. The D tackle from the Broncos. I'm really blanking on names. I blank in names in the offseason because my mind just isn't NFL focused, but we made so many improvements over this team, and I'm so ready to watch them. I think we're going to be so much better than last year. Not to mention, I didn't even think about it, we changed the entire front office, and I think the coaching with Brian Daboll as our offensive coordinator and Robert Saleh as our head coach, I think we improved massively, and I think as a team we're going to improve massively, and I think we'll see it on the field. The record might not be like, I'm not saying we're going to be an 8-10 win team, but I think you'll see it on the field, even if the record's not amazing. And coming at 3rd, we have the Colts, who really did not change anything this offseason. They traded Michael Pittman. Sure, your receiving core gets hurt a little bit, but you're really just running it back, seeing if a full healthy season with Daniel Jones can get you somewhere, and seeing I told you I'm blanking on names. The corner from the Jets they just traded, Sauce Gardner. See if a full season of him and getting him back healthy to see what this team really has. So they didn't change much, so I think they're going to stick at 3rd here. Coming here at 2nd, we got the Jags. So I also have a homie, shout out Carl, that's a Jags fan. I think they're still going to be solid. They lost Travis Etienne and Devin Lloyd, who I think are two key pieces, one of your offense, one of your defense, that suck to lose. But I think on offense, at least you have Bashal Tootin to really make up for that. I think Devin Lloyd hole is going to be a little bit bigger because he provided a lot of defense, a lot of interceptions this past season. And I really did not enjoy the draft outside of Emmanuel Pregnon in the 3rd round. Outside of that, I didn't like what they drafted, and I don't think this team really added anything that really helped them improve, but I think they still have enough to do better than the Colts and Titans here, and probably still fight for a playoff spot. And then number 1, I have the Houston Texans, who also didn't add too much. However, they have that defense we all know and love, and They added Braden Smith, tackle. I had to look at my notes again. They had Akila Rutledge in the draft, I know, to boost up that O-line, what's been slightly a problem this past year. We're really banking on CJ Stroud to really show what he can, or not show what he can do, but kind of go back to what his rookie year looked like and not what this past playoff looked like. That defense is it's gonna get you somewhere. It's gonna get you to the playoffs. If you get to the playoffs, it's gonna carry you a long way because they can damn near single-handedly win by themselves. They just need CJ Stroud to do something. If he didn't throw damn 4 interceptions in this playoff game against the Patriots, or was it the Broncos? I forgot, sorry. If he didn't throw 4 interceptions, they would have won. I mean, he just has to not be a negative, and this defense will get them really far. So I think this team is going to come in at 1 fairly comfortably. I think they kind of are a step above the Jaguars. So I think they're going to take it here. Then we move on to the AFC West. I think, again, obviously we have the Raiders coming here at 4. Drafting Fernando Mendoza number 1, and you add Kirk Cousins, who's probably going to start the majority of the season instead of Fernando. Fernando will probably come in maybe past the bye week and might even sit in the whole year. Who really knows? I like what they added. They added a bunch on defense. I'm blanking on nearly every name. I think Odafe Owe was one of them. I don't know. I know they added an edge. They didn't get the Max Crosby trade done, so he is back. I think the defense is going to be pretty solid. The offense is still a little bit shaky. You get year 2 Ashton. You add Tyler Linderbaum to beef up the O-line, which is very, very much needed, and it still needs a lot of improvement. As speaking of a lot of improvement, that receiving core is not in a good spot, so that needs a lot of help too. But this team they're building correctly. I'm pretty sure they got a coaching change. I didn't look into it, but I know they got a coaching change, but I forgot who it was. So I think again, this is an easy 4 because the other three teams in this division are really going to be fighting it out. Now this one might be a little controversial. This is where we get a little like nitpicky, and this is where one of the divisions that was harder to really choose between the top 3. But number 3 here, I had the Chiefs because 1, we don't know when Mahomes is coming back. I know he's making originally when that injury happens, you think, all right, maybe mid-season next season he'll come back around there. But I know he's been like supposed to rumored to come back like really early in the season. But I still think they're lacking a lot. As much as Pat can get you, and as far as he can get you, because he is the greatest QB in the league. That defense took a big hit losing Jalen Watson, losing Trent McDuffie. I mean, I know you drafted Mansour Delane to really try to help that, but you're relying on a rookie to pick up the pieces left there by a all-pro corner. So that defense is taking a big hit. Travis Kelce's only getting older. That receiving core is still iffy, especially when you have all the legal troubles that the receiving core goes to. You don't really know what's going to happen on this offense. So I do have them coming here at 3 here, and a lot of this really depends on when Pat actually comes back. Then coming here at 2nd, I have the Chargers, who I think made when it comes to a head coaching change. It's not even a head coaching change. They didn't change the coach. They did last year. I think again was a great head coaching change. Bringing in Mike McDaniel as their offensive coordinator, I think, is phenomenal, especially for Justin Herbert. If you can get those 2 tackles healthy and Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater, if you can get them healthy for a damn season, this team is going to be great. They also signed Tyler Biadasz to up that O-line even more because it's a huge problem. The guards are still a problem. But we're really relying on these 2 tackles. If they can stay healthy, I think this team is going to be great. And I think this team is just going to be great overall. I love the addition of Mike McDaniel here. And coming here at number 1, I kind of just running it back. We have the Broncos here because I think the defense is still just phenomenal and hard to beat. If Bo Nix can take any more steps to improve, shout out Bo Nix. I'm claiming him as an Auburn player, even though he transferred to Oregon, and that's really where he blew up. But I'm always going to love him here. They also traded for Jalen Waddle, who's a true number 1 receiver that I think this team really needed. I know Cortland Sutton's great and all, but they needed a field stretcher, someone who can get deep and really a big playmaking difference changer. Even though Cortland Sutton's great, someone else to really run alongside him, I think is going to improve this team so much. And I mean, they damn near you can argue they would have made the Super Bowl this past year if Bo Nix didn't go down. So I'm gonna have them running it back and have them getting the 1st seed here. All right, I got 2 off of the jacket, but we're on to the NFC North. And as I said last, with the AFC West, how hard it is to predict. The NFC North is probably the hardest one to predict for me. Guys, number 4 here, I've got the Vikings. I didn't even realize the Vikings had 8 wins with J.J. McCarthy as their quarterback last season. So getting Kyler Murray, I mean, that team's more than likely going to improve. So 4 might even be a little harsh. But, I mean, every team here is really, packed together. They're so close together. They lost, only key notable player I know they lost is Jonathan Grenard. And I know they lost other defensive players. So the defense might take a little bit of hit. But I trust them defensively. It's just how, if Kyler Murray can really, 1, he has to stay healthy. 2, he has to, kind of go back to how he was earlier and prove he can really be a starting QB again in this league. But so I'm gonna have them coming 4th here. Then number 3, no one in this division really made too many changes to the roster, but I know the Packers lost a few receivers here. And really, the big thing here is you're finally going to get a full season, hopefully a full healthy season of Micah Parsons, and show we can really change on that defense. This team is just solid overall to me. I don't think they're going to change that much from how they were last year. To me, I really just don't know this division. So you can put this team number one, put the number one team here. I mean, you can change it up pretty much any other way, and I wouldn't call you crazy. But for me, I'm going to put the Packers here at 3. Coming here in at 2, or coming here in at 2, yeah. We had the Lions here. Oh, that's the wrong picture. Okay. All right, fix the picture. Coming here at 2, as I saw, we have the Lions, who also really did not change that much when it comes to the offseason. I know Taylor Decker left, which is going to hurt heavily, but they drafted Blake Miller from Clemson to try and replace him. Well, actually, they moved Penei Sewell to his side, then drafted Blake Miller technically to replace Penei Sewell. But nothing on this team changed that much. That offense is going to get you points. If the defense can hold up, it's going to be great. Again, as I said, I'm going to keep saying it. This division is so hard to predict. If you want to put them second, put them third, the Packers second. You want to put this team first. I don't care what you do because it's going to be really close. And, I mean, these top 3 are probably going to be decided like 1 or 2 games. With that being said, at number 1, my LED lights went out. That's kind of crazy. Now this room's really dark. It'll be okay. At number 1, we have the Chicago Bears. And again, they lost DJ Moore, which is going to be a hit, but I think the receivers they already have can kind of take up that or fill that hole, and Luther Borden can take a bigger jump up because I know he can do it. Kind of replace him. I think they'll be okay in that department, and the offense overall will be perfectly fine, and it's going to be even great as we saw last year. Kind of just is the defense going to be fixed, which they didn't really fix it at all. They drafted Dylan Thieneman, who I'm a big fan of, safety out of the first round. So he's going to have a lot of kind of carrying to do here, but I still think, I mean, they were first overall last year. I think they got 13 wins. I mean, you can't tell me they can't do that again. So I'm going to have them coming first here. NFC East. All right, number 4. Here we have the Washington Commanders. And I'm going to give a little hate to the Commanders here for no reason whatsoever, but I don't know what it is about them. I just hate their... I understand the Redskins thing was like controversial and stuff, so don't get me wrong. But the Commanders thing is just... bleh. It's just a meh. It's a meh name, meh logo, meh jerseys. It's just blah. If you gave me 32 picks to go through to choose my favorite team, they'd low-key be my least favorite team, or like my last pick. Don't know why I had to throw shade on y'all, but I have y'all coming forth. You're really, really, really relying on a healthy Jaden Daniels season here. You did upgrade your defense majorly in the offseason, which y'all desperately needed, and y'all drafted Sonny Styles, who I'm a huge, huge, huge fan of. So hopefully he can really improve that defense because y'all really, really, really need it. The receiver room is, again, kind of iffy. You have Deebo Samuel's there. Terry McLaurin, he's aging. He kind of had not really a down season last year, but not as great as he usually is. So we really have to see what's going on in that receiver room. And don't get me started on Brandon Ayuk or whatever the hell is going on with him. I know he's not there, but so I have y'all coming in at 4 here. Then number 3 coming in here, we got the Giants. We have a second year Jackson Dart, and I think he can make a big jump off of what he showed us last year. But you bring in John Harbaugh, who is a major improvement over Brian Daboll as a head coach. And he brought in his staff. He brought in key pieces like Isaiah Likely and other players are from the Ravens. And he's going to bring a winning culture over here for a player like Jackson Dart. You did lose Dexter Lawrence, which is a big hit. But, I mean, he wanted to go regardless. Y'all didn't want to pay him. That's whatever. Y'all drafted someone like Arvell Reese. Well, let's just say y'all drafted phenomenally with Arvell Reese. And I think Francis Moino is the tackle y'all got. I'm blanking there. I'm pretty sure that's correct. But yeah, y'all got Dexter Lawrence. The big question mark, or maybe not question mark here, the big is your receiver core, because I don't know what's going on with Neighbors. I don't think he's even healthy yet. Every time you see him, he's limping. He's walking with a boot still, so I don't know what's going on there. And you lost Wan'Dale Robinson, so you had to sign players like Odell back. So that receiver core is scary if Malik Neighbors is not healthy to start this season. So I'm gonna have y'all coming in at 3. Then coming at 2, I'm gonna get the Cowboys here, who the offense pretty much changed the same. The only thing that really changed is the defense, because y'all drafted like Caleb Downs and I think an edge later in the first. So the big question here is just, can the defense improve, which y'all drafted to it and y'all try to fix it. I just don't think it's still going to improve majorly, but I think the offense, if you can have CD and George for a whole season here, and that if this team can just stay healthy for a season, if everyone can stay healthy, because there always seems to be one person out with an injury, the offense is going to be great. The defense can just be like fine. I think they will be a playoff team and make it easily better than the Giants here. And coming here at number 1, who else could I really choose besides the Eagles? Y'all got a new offensive coordinator. Again, I don't know why I keep saying y'all, but it's like I'm talking to a fan. I guess that's what I'm doing here. But they got a new offensive coordinator, which, I mean, everyone was saying that's their big issue, which it is their big issue. So hopefully we'll see an improvement from that offense and Jalen Hurts overall. You still have Saquon Barkley. You did lose A.J. Brown, but you drafted Mekhi Littman, who's not like not even really the same kind of player, but I think Mekhi Littman himself is just a great player. But you're going to take a little bit of a hit in that department, but with the offensive coordinator like boost, I think y'all will be fine overall. And defensively, y'all sign Tariq Woolen. I have to look at my notes here. Y'all signed Tariq Woolen and y'all signed Jonathan Grenard, who just a great corner to add with to that already great corner room and a great edge to add to the already great line. Because that's really just what the Eagles do. They're like, in my eyes, they're like the thunder of the Eagles and how they run, how pretty much saying they're just a great front office and they run so perfectly. So they're going to be successful this season and for many seasons coming on here. So that's why I have them coming in at first for the NFC East. And now we are on the hardest division to predict in the NFL year in and year out. So like I said with the NFC North, here you can put the fourth place team in first, and you wouldn't be crazy. You can put the first place team in fourth, you wouldn't be crazy. That's just how this division rocks out. But coming in at 4, we have the Falcons, which is maybe kind of controversial because not really controversial, but again, I just don't know where to put these teams. I got Tua, who apparently has been doing great in the preseason, or not preseason, but like during the offseason. He's been great during drills and during training, during practice. So if you can get a boost in that QB department over what Michael Penix brought you, I think you're in a great spot because you have Drake London, you have Bijan, 2 key offensive pieces, and Kyle Pitts, who had a great season last year and he really brought it out. And overall, I think y'all are great. Do I have any notes here for y'all? I have no, because nothing really changed. Y'all drafted AJ Terrell's brother, Avion Terrell, who I'm also a big fan of, to beefing up that corner room. So I think, and nothing really changed for this team overall. So I think y'all are kind of just going to be in fourth. But again, y'all could be third, y'all could be second, y'all could be first. I really have no idea. I was blanking on the name for a second. I had to think about it. But, and I still don't technically know what's happening with James Pierce Jr. I think he's coming back this season, but I'm not positive. Pretty sure he's having no legal trouble there, so that's kind of a plus for y'all. But yeah. Then coming at 3, we have the Panthers. Ultimately because I kind of think they lack overall roster talent compared to these other two. And again, I'm still just not sold on Bryce Young. I think he has a lot of like inefficiency issues. I know y'all signed Jalen Walker, who's going to be for that defense, and y'all signed Devin Lloyd, who I am a big fan of. And again, as I said, the key thing here to me is I'm just not totally sold on Bryce Young. And I don't even know how many years he has left on his contract. I know they didn't offer him like his 5th year extension or haven't extended him yet. So this is a really big year for him. I'm going to have them coming in at 3 here. Then coming in at number 2, I have the Saints here solely because of this offensive jump they took. I really don't know what I'm kind of blanking on a lot on their defense. I know they lost Alontae Taylor. I think they lost Demario Davis. I'm kind of blanking on what they added or lost in this offseason. I've really forgot. But you have a 2nd-year Tyler Shuck, who had looked phenomenal at the end of the season. This past season, you drafted Jordan Tyson, who in my opinion is the best receiver in this class if he can stay healthy, and you signed Travis Etienne in free agency, Travis Achane in free agency, who can come in and really replace older and like declining Alvin Kamara. This team was 4th this past season, and they had the worst record by like a pretty big gap. But I think they've made the biggest jump over this offseason, and I think they will improve a lot and come in at 2nd this season. Then that leaves the Buccaneers to come in at 1st. I think for back-to-back years, I'm pretty sure they were the winners last season. If not, it was the Panthers, but I think it was the Buccaneers. You draft key pieces, in my opinion, such as Ruben Bain, because y'all really needed help on defense, and Ted Hurst in the 3rd round, who's a receiver I really liked. He went to VSU, where is actually the shirt I'm wearing. That's where I go. He went there, then transferred to Georgia State. I'm a big fan of him. I like his tape. I like what he can bring to this team. You did lose Mike Evans, so these younger receivers such as Ted Hurst might have to play a bigger role this season, and someone like Emeka Egbuka might have to take a step up this season. I think they got a new offensive coordinator this offseason, and in my notes I say they kind of just improved their defense right now. Specific names, but that defense was the problem holding them back this past season, and they did boost it up. So I think they definitely did enough to stay at number 1 and not let anyone overtake them this season. Last division here, we have the NFC West, and as I said with the Dolphins battling for the number 1 overall pick, we have the St. Louis Cardinals. No, it's not St. Louis Cardinals. Sorry, the Arizona Cardinals. Only key additions or key losses they have is they lost Kyler Murray, which and I don't know if you can really call it a key departure because he's never healthy there. Drafted Jeremiah Love at third, which I mean I personally didn't agree with because I think you're just at a standstill with maybe not a standstill, but you're not in a good spot roster wise. I didn't see the point in drafting a running back, but I did it. So I think he's a great player. I wanted him at 4 at Tennessee, so maybe I'm probably just butthurt. We didn't get him really. So but I think y'all are in contention for the number 1 overall pick this year and easily going to come fourth in the NFC West. Then coming in at 3, I have the 49ers here, who I wanted to put 2, and I really thought about switching them into who I have at 2, which I'll talk about that more in a second. But you know the Niners, they're always going to be good because they have Kyle Shanahan, who's I mean, in my opinion, probably the best coach in the NFL, and can really, because year in and year out, he has just an injury-riddled roster, and he's just backup QB, backup side end, backup running back, backup receivers, just backups all across the board. So he has to he makes do with what he has, and he always does it year in and year out. They didn't really make any key additions this offseason, but the only thing they signed Mike Evans, who's going to help bolster up that receiver room because he is still a good receiver. The only thing I written down was Brandon Ayuk with 3 question marks, because I don't know what is going on with him, and I don't know if he can. I don't know if they can even let him play again this offseason after, not offseason. They can even let him play again in that uniform after what has happened during this offseason. Then coming here at 2, we have the reigning Super Bowl champs. As I said, I thought about putting the Niners above them because I'm gonna show y'all y'all see my list right here. Not really, but let me read off the departures they have. They lost Kenneth Walker, Tariq Woolen, Kobe Bryant, Boye Mafe, and their offensive coordinator all in one offseason, which they probably lost more. Those are just the big names that I wrote down. I mean, they got depleted from their Super Bowl roster. I don't think they're gonna be able to run it back. I still think they're gonna be a solid team. I really want to swap them in the Niners, but it's too late. I'm going to stand by this. But I think they are going to come in second here after everything they've lost. Then who else but the Los Angeles Rams? Probably the Super Bowl favorite coming into this year. I mean, this just roster-wise on paper, this team is genuinely just absurd. They trade for Myles Garrett. They trade for Jim McDuffie. They signed Jalen Watson. So they signed 2 starting corners, 1 all-pro corner. One of those is an all-pro corner, and the best defensive player in the damn league. Keeping Matthew Stafford, and you lost little to nothing anywhere else. I really dislike the pick at 13 in. I almost said Stetson Bennett, the Alabama quarterback. I'm telling you, I cannot think of names during the offseason. But I really disagree with the pick there. I wish they kind of would have just, because everything else they did is going all in. They traded picks for this, trading picks for that. They have no first round picks for many years to come. Or I don't really know if that's true, but they have no first round picks for a bit. They traded hella draft capital to win now, except with their 1 first round pick they had, they didn't do anything to win now. Like, I wish they drafted like a Mekhi Lemon or a O-line or just something to help win now, and not a quarterback that's a project that you kind of have to, that's going to do nothing this offseason unless Matthew Stafford gets hurt. But if that happens, you're probably not going anywhere anyway. So I really just dislike the pick there. But that's against the point because this team is just absurd on paper. One of the best teams on paper I've ever seen. So I think they're easily going to come in at 1 here. With that being our last division, we're now moving into my NFC Championship prediction, my AFC Championship prediction, and my Super Bowl prediction. First, NFC Championship, I have the Los Angeles Rams versus the Philadelphia Eagles. This is kind of just a probably pick. Like, on paper, these are 2 of the best teams in the NFC. So this isn't like a whoa pick. But it's probably who I think is going to get there. Then, speaking of whoa pick, okay, hear me out. In the AFC, I think the AFC is so open, as we saw this past year with the Broncos and the Patriots making it, but the Broncos could have won. And before that, the Texans should have beat the Patriots or the Broncos, whoever they played. I think this is wide open, so don't call me crazy. I told you I'm a big fan of the Mike McDaniels hire, so I have the Texans versus the Chargers. And as I went through, like in my division things, the Texans, as I said, if CJ Stroud can just not be a total negative, that defense will get them there. Especially, I mean, when it comes to playoff games, defense matters. And this defense can win you and wield you through the playoffs as long as CJ Stroud is just, he can be average. That's all we need. We need an average quarterback, just not a 4 interception game, and they will be perfectly fine. And I need something to do. And with the Chargers, okay? I know I'm probably crazy on this, but I'm personally a huge Justin Herbert fan. The if man, I know. But if those tackles can stay healthy, first of all, let me talk about the if man narratives, okay? y'all can say what you want. This guy broke through 5,000 passing yards in his rookie damn season. And it's not his fault. His receiving core is kind of mad. I understand you have a receiver from Georgia. I told you I'm blanking on names. Quentin Johnston's this past season. I think he started off hot. You have an old Keenan Allen who's arguably his best performer year in and year out. His O-line always just tears their ACL year in and year out, and he's playing with absolute bricks trying to guard him. I think he's a great quarterback, and he's been getting a bad narrative. But with that being said, this is my last year, unless something goes horribly wrong. He is a great offensive coordinator, a great head coach. His O-line's new and improved. His receiving core solid enough. So I think this is my final year, really thinking how I think with him. So, but I do think this team has the making to make it this far. However, in the Super Bowl, I have the Rams and the Texans. I think that defense with the Texans is just too much, and the Rams overall are just too much. I think they're going to be too much for any and every team there. And with my winner, give me a drum roll. I got the Los Angeles Rams. I know it's kind of a boring pick because this team just nuts on paper, but I really don't see how they lose this season because last season their issue was defense. Guess what? They added Myles Garrett and Trent McDuffie. Defense is not going to be a problem anymore when you have Myles Garrett. Like, God forbid any injury. Myles Garrett in the damn playoffs, which we haven't seen in many, many years, he's going to be an issue. And I'm so ready to see him in a winning culture and see what he can really bring. But this team is terrifying. So that's my Super Bowl winner. I mean, that's probably what the favorites are. That's probably what most people are going to say. So it's not that fun, but I really don't see anyone else being here. Then we move on to my award predictions. And first, we go with MVP my awards. MVP, my runner-ups, coming at 6th, Drake May, then Lamar Jackson, Matthew Stafford, Caleb Williams, Josh Allen. I really wanted to throw in like a position player, like a receiver or a running back, like a Bijan, maybe something like that, but it's just not gonna really ever happen. No one outside of a quarterback's really gonna win. So, and it was really hard. I mean, it was hard picking a winner. I picked kind of a fun winner because I could just say, oh, Josh Allen, because he's up there every single year. Lamar Jackson, first, third one. He's up there every year. Matthew Stafford just won. I didn't want to give it to him. I'm not big on Caleb Williams, but Caleb Williams will have the numbers to be up here. And I mean, he had 13 wins last season. He's capable of being up here. Drake May was just second, and his offense improved, so he can be higher up this list. Damn, maybe he can win. Anyone on this list, in my eyes, can win because every year in and year out, they're like 1 through 5, and it's usually unarguable who wins. So, but with my winner for the MVP, as I said, it is the if man himself, Justin Herbert. With Mike McDaniels, man, I think anything's possible. And I didn't want to give I almost just did a Josh Allen for his second MVP or third. I forgot. But I kind of want to just not be as boring and pick up more fun pick. Plus, I'm big on him. So give me Justin Herbert to win the MVP. I don't want to put just kind of a shock pick. So that's kind of fun. And second here, we come in at Defensive Player of the Year. Speaking of boring pick, kind of made the one here. But at 6, we have Nick Bonito, who was, in the running this year. Aiden Hutchinson, who's in the running this year. Patrick Surtain, who was in the running this year. He's the best corner in the league. Micah Parsons, who I think full season we can really see him again because we haven't seen him for a few years now with the trade, with the injury, with everything. Will Anderson, who's just an absolute monster. And with that Texans team, probably going to have the best defense in the league. He's a big shout to win it, but who else? But we have to just pick Myles here. I mean, when you're someone who broke the sack record and might break your record again this year when the offense has more stuff to worry about this time, there's no telling what's going to happen. Not to mention, when it comes to Myles Garrett, when you're on a bad team, when you're down more, teams run the ball more against you, So when you're on a good team like the Rams and teams are going to have towards the end of the game, these teams are going to have to get into obvious passing downs on you. And Myles Garrett is going to wreak havoc this season. I'm telling you, he is my Defensive Player of the Year back to back. So let's move on to Offensive Rookie of the Year. At 6 here, I have Mekhi Lemon, who drafted to the Eagles. He's going to slot into that wide receiver 2 spot, probably. I was gonna say the slot, but he might be in the Z. I don't know where he's gonna play, but he's gonna have good numbers this year, which I think everyone up here is gonna have good numbers this year, and everyone up here is gonna be a key piece of their offense. At 5, we have Jadarian Price because he's gonna immediately slot in as running back 1 with the loss of Kenneth Walker for the Seahawks, and they're gonna rely on him heavy for that running back hole they now have. And at 4, I have Jordan Tyson, just hoping he can stay healthy. He is a absolute stud. I could see him winning this award with that offense, with the player he is, because I know how amazing he is. At 3 here, I put Fernando. Even though he won't play for most of the year, it's a quarterback. All these awards are quarterback awards. So if he plays 6 games and plays well in the 6 games, he can very easily just be on the award list and maybe even win it. I mean, we saw that with Tyler Shuck. He didn't play that much this season, and he immediately, or I kind of forgetting how many games he did play. He didn't play that much, and he was still one of the front runners for offensive rookie of the year. Then number 2, we have Carnell Tate, who drafted to my Titans, and I think he's going to be our wide receiver 1. And Cam Ward, I haven't spoke about him. Phenomenal quarterback. He's gonna get this guy the ball, whether he likes it or not. Like, Cam Ward's amazing. Carnell Tate has a great quarterback throwing him the ball, and I think he's going to put up good numbers. I think he can easily reach 1,000 yards this season, so I think he's a big shout. But coming here at 1, I'm gonna say Jeremiah Love, just because I know I gave a lot of like shade to the Cardinals, but I think that offense is okay. I mean, you have Michael Wilson, you have Marvin Harrison Jr., you have Jeremiah Love, and I think Jeremiah Love is going to get the numbers up. He's going to get the opportunity here, and I think he's a phenomenal player. As I said, I really wanted to draft him at 4, but we didn't. But I think whether I like the pick or not, the player himself is phenomenal. I think he's maybe not easily win this award, but he's my pick to win it. Then we have Defensive Rookie of the Year. Oh, this was kind of hard to pick for me, but at 6, I put Arvell Reese solely because the opportunity kind of scares me. Again, I'm blinking on names. I'm going to be saying it. The edge that the Giants just drafted out of Penn State, who everyone thought was this phenomenal prospect, he didn't get that much playing time. I could kind of see the same thing coming in with Arvell Reese. Kind of just going to have to wait to get your opportunity, especially until like Thibodeau leaves, if he does leave. But at 5, I have Dylan Thieneman to the Bears, who I said earlier I'm a big fan of, safety. And with how bad that defense is, he's going to have a lot of stuff to do, and he's going to get played in a lot of different roles, I think. Number 4, I have Bailey. He's probably the best pure pass rusher on this list, so he could easily win. And I think he's the favorite to win, but I don't know about why. I just had to kind of nitpick between things and choose what I want. Because the thing with all of these players, almost all of these players are going to a horrendous defense, maybe except Arvell Reese. The Bears had a horrendous defense. David Bailey to the Jets, they don't have a good defense. Caleb Downs to the Cowboys, they have an awful defense. Sonny Styles to the Commanders, they have an awful defense. I actually had Caleb Downs as my winner, but I thought if Nick Emmanwori really didn't win this season, I kind of don't see Caleb Downs doing that, or I don't see him winning. I know he's a much better prospect, but Nick Emmanwori was amazing this season. I think he's going to be kind of in the same-ish role that Caleb Downs is getting played in, so I don't see him winning it. I actually moved Sonny Styles up just because Carson Schweitzer won the award. So, hey, like, a linebacker can win this award, okay? It doesn't have to be an edge. And I think Sonny Styles is amazing, and he's going to do a lot this season for defense. But ultimately, number 1, I have Ruben Bain, who I think, especially alongside Vita Vea, he's going to put up numbers. I know. He's one of those guys where I know the measurements everyone talks about. He's not fast. He's not bendy. He's not tall. His arm length's short. But he always, I mean, watching those Miami playoff games, I mean, he was always in someone's face, just pushing grown men to the ground. He has crazy strength, crazy power. And I'm excited to see him now. I'm excited to see him in the league. And we saw how mad he was during the draft. So I think he's coming out with a vengeance. And I think he's going to take the Offensive Rookie of the Year, or Defensive Rookie of the Year home. I have that written. Sorry. Now, almost at 40 minutes of time somehow. I don't understand how all my videos always get to 40 minutes because I end up yapping, which is funny because I don't yap in real life. I don't talk in real life. But fun awards here now for the NFL. We have superlatives, who are just fun. These are just fun awards I kind of came up with. We have the Jeremiah Smith Award, which is pretty much the number 1, the worst team award. You're going to be the worst team. You're going to get the first overall pick and probably pick Jeremiah Smith maybe. We have the Brock Purdy Award, who is a late round QB who I think may come in and like bring an impact to his team. We had the biggest turnaround. That one's kind of obvious. I can't think of a fun name for that. It's just what team's going to get the biggest turnaround. We have the Joe Burrow Award, which is pretty much just the Comeback Player of the Year award. We have the NFC South Award, excluding the NFC South. Now, this award, I kind of brought it up many times. This is like the hardest team to predict. The hardest division to predict, and the division that I think is going to be like super close together, like 1 or 2 wins apart throughout first and fourth. And I said excluding NFC South because, I mean, that's they would probably win it. Then I have the Holy Shit Finally Award, which is this is kind of just like a player that a team finally needed, or a position a team finally needed and finally got. So Nonetheless, Jeremiah Smith Award, we have the Miami Dolphins. It was really between them and the Cardinals, but as I said a second ago, I think the Cardinals offense actually has like players there that can wield them to a few wins. We saw it even last year. I mean, they actually performed pretty solidly. I think with Jeremiah Love addition, I think they're going to be bad because I think they want to be bad, but I don't think they're going to be awful. And I think that Miami Dolphin team is just horrendous. Then the Brock Purdy Award, I went Cade Klubnik just because I think this past year, like that whole Clemson team. Okay, in my eyes with football, if a whole team disappoints, it's not even football, it's every sport. If an entire team disappoints, you gotta think, coming into this year, that Clemson roster, I mean, it had players. It had many first-round bucks. Cade Klubnik was a first-round buck. TJ Moore, I'm sorry, I'm gonna miss the names. I think it's TJ Moore, it's TJ something. He was their first-round mock. They had another D lineman who was like or Peter Woods was like a first overall mock, and everyone fell down the draft board. Now, you can't tell me that's because each player just actually isn't good. To me, that's like a coaching issue, a team issue. But I think Cade Klubnik is better than what he showed last year. And I think for that Jets team, if Geno Smith really just can't do it, I think he will get opportunity to do something. The only other player really had the idea here, we have Drew Adler, but and I think I had Garrett Nussmeier also, which is the kind of the same thing as I said for Clemson. That kind of happened with LSU and Garrett Nussmeier. And I think Garrett Nussmeier really has the intellect for the position. Like, he's a smart player. And I think, like, if Patrick Mahomes takes a little bit while to come back, maybe he will get that opportunity. But I went Cade Klubnik because I think he has the biggest chance of having an opportunity. Okay. I had to relook at who I put here because there's so many names here. The Joe Burrow Award, Comeback Player of the Year Award. Here's some nominees. I almost just put Joe Burrow to be funny. And because, I mean, it's not even funny. He can win this award. I almost put Patrick Mahomes, but I wanted to have a little more fun, so I put Tua Tagovailoa. Yes, because I think what I'm hearing out of like practice and training, he's been performing, and I mean, if he just doesn't get his egg scrambled again, this will be fun to see. I want to see him play a full healthy season and have a good year, so I'm gonna have him winning that award here. The NFC South Award, I am going to. Oh, sorry, don't look at that. NFC South Award, I have the NFC North, which is the Vikings, the Dolphins. Vikings, Lions, Bears, Packers. So I think all three of them will be within maybe two. I can see I can see literally every one of those teams can be a 10-win team if that's possible. I don't know if that's possible. I forgot. I don't know what the option is, but I don't think one's going to be a 5, one's going to be a 13. One might be 13, but I think the nose will be like 9. I think this division is going to be really close, so I have them coming in to win that award. Holy shit, finally. My winner for this award is the Baltimore Ravens and Trey Henderson. As I said earlier, what the Ravens have been missing the most for many years to me, I can't even really think of, outside of Madubuike, he's not even really an edge rusher. He's an interior D lineman, but he was a positive pass rusher. They like this true just get the QB pass rusher, and I think Trey Henderson's finally bringing that. You can see how like desperate they were to do it because they almost traded 2 first-round picks for Max Crosby. And there are rumors that Madubuike can actually come back, which was a big thing because he had a big back injury, very scary. But there are rumors, or I think he even said he might be coming back this season. So that's glad to see. And them together is going to be great in the D-line. And hopefully that defense will just improve overall. But that is my Holy Shit Finally Award. And that is everything. Those are my predictions for the NFCL season. Let me know what you disagree with. Let me know what you agree with. Give me some hot takes that we can talk about. And I'll see you next time.